Hey everybody, welcome back to another action figure unboxing and review. And today we've got a nice little surprise. We're going to be taking a look at the Mezco 112 Collective Doctor Doom from Marvel. Doctor Doom is one of Marvel's greatest, if not the greatest villain. He's my personal favorite comic book character of all time. And as I said, he's probably Marvel's signature villain. They've unfortunately yet to nail him in live action, but he's been portrayed in various incarnations and throughout the comic book's history. He first appeared in the Fantastic Four way back in the 61 or 62, one of their earlier issues, and he's been their arch enemy ever since. He's also one of the Avengers' main villains, and he's also fought people like Doctor Strange, the X-Men, Spider-Man, the Hulk, and Namor, and various other Marvel superheroes throughout the last 6 decades. So yes, Doctor Doom is one of the all-time greats. He is the lord and monarch of the fictional country of Latveria, which is located somewhere in Eastern Europe. Very similar in name to Latvia, an actual country in the Balkans. Doctor Doom has been ruler of Latveria off and on since his character's whole existence. Sometimes he's been deposed, but he almost always comes back and takes over again. I think currently he is still monarch. Of all the villains that have existed throughout the history of Marvel Comics, I would say Doctor Doom and probably Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet have come the closest to succeeding in their overall plans. Doctor Doom was the catalyst for the event that saw the multiverse get merged, or kind of. Bear with me because I'm not 100% sure how this went, but he took over, basically became like godlike, to the point where he had Galactus as an underling, and at the end of that arc, see, Marvel had what was called the Ultimates universe, which is basically just a retelling of the origins of all the main 616 characters for a newer generation. And at the end of that arc, that universe was destroyed. The Ultimate Universe, although some of those characters did make it to the 616, which is the Prime Universe. Some of those characters did make it over to that universe, including the Black Nick Fury, because Nick Fury in 616 was a white guy, but the one in Ultimates was a black guy. And he was modeled after Samuel L. Jackson. And that was before Samuel L. Jackson played him in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So that's art imitating life, imitating art, basically. So he made it over, and Miles Morales, who took over as Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe after the Ultimate Universe Peter Parker was killed, he made it over. There's probably some others that made it over too, but those are the three main ones: Nick Fury, Miles Morales, and did I say 3? Maybe there's only 2. I think there was an evil Reed Richards that made it over too. But yeah, Nick Fury, Miles Morales. I thought there was another person that made it over from the Ultimate Universe. I can't remember now. Anyway, so let's take a look. This is going to be a full unboxing. Now, I don't usually I don't like doing this for Mezco because there's so much stuff. But I'm gonna, and I have limited space on my phone here to record before it runs out. I have to upload it and start over again. So I'm gonna do this in parts. I'm gonna show the box now, and then I'm going to open it up, show what everything inside looks like, and then I'll take it off camera to get all the accessories and everything out, and then I'll bring it back on the camera to show all the accessories and all that stuff. So that's how I'm gonna do it. So here we have the box, Dr. Doom, and of course the front has got a nice huge close-up of his armor-plated face. Now Dr. Doom wears this mask because when he was in college, he was roommates with Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and he was doing an experiment that was not sanctioned by the university. And Reed happened by the room at one point, saw his notes and looked them over. And when Victor Von Doom, that's his real name, when Victor showed up and saw Reed in there, he got mad at him. But Reed tried to warn him, tell him that his math was off, and offered to help him correct it. But Doom is egotistical and didn't think that he could have made a mistake. Chased Reed out of his room and went about doing the experiment as normal without any changes. It resulted in an explosion which disfigured his face and got him kicked out of school because, like I said, it was unsanctioned by the university. So he went on a pilgrimage or a quest or whatever that led him to a temple, and the monks in the temple brought him in, made a mask of metal, and in his haste to cover his scarred face, he put it on while it was still hot, so burned himself even more. So yeah, that's a quick synopsis of Doom's backstory. Also, he is one of the most intelligent Marvel villains in the Marvel universe, and he's probably the second smartest human in the entire galaxy next to Reed Richards, and their intelligence fluctuates. Like sometimes Doom is smarter, sometimes Reed is smarter. It really depends. There are things that Doom is better at than Reed. Like Doom is a master at robotics. He's probably the best in the world, even better than Tony Stark when it comes to robotics. And he surpasses Reed in that category by far. He was also the first one to invent a time machine on Earth. And Reed himself copied it at one point. But Doom came up with it before Reed did. So he has his moments where he's surpasses Reed Richards, although they are few. And here we have the side of the box. Dr. Doom, Mezco toy, by collectors, for collectors. And then it goes 112 collective, pose, play, display. And the same on the other side. We got a little bit of legalese on the bottom. All that Mezco corporate information. Not a toy for children, intended for adult collectors only. Dr. Doom. And then on the back, we got all the accessories he comes with, and he comes with a lot. Now, Mezco figures are already fairly expensive in general. Like I showed you the Destro and the Roadblock from G.I. Joe, but those were like the Destro was like 90 and the Roadblock was 120. The Doom is more than that. He's closer to 150. So, but he comes with a lot of stuff too. And once I get him out of the box, I'll show you like the main reason why he's more expensive than the others. You might not be able to actually see it on camera, but you're just going to have to take my word for it. All right, so removing him from the box, you get this 112 slip that comes with all their figures. And you got this instruction manual for all the various different accessories that he comes with. Tells you how to use each one of them. There we go. There's the figure himself. And here's another sheet of accessories. As I said, there are a lot of them. A lot of different blast effects. A stand. A baggie to put accessories in. Multiple hands. Multiple heads. Weapons. More blast effects. Just a ton of stuff. They don't skimp out on the accessories in Mezco. So real quick, because I still got plenty of time, let's just open the Doom figure section first. Put that aside, because I want to take the figure out and show you the figure before I take it offline or take it off camera to take out the rest of the accessories. He's wrapped up in plastic here, and he's got silica gel to protect the soft goods from dampness. Let's get that out of the way. All right. Now, as usual with Mezco figures, they do come with soft goods. This cloak does have bending wire in it, so you can put it into poses and stuff for photography. However, the cloak itself is quite heavy. So, and the wire is thin. So you're not going to be able to get too much posing that has too much weight on it, basically. Like you can get you'll be able to get some posing done, but you can't have it like straight out like this. There's too much weight and the wire is not strong enough. You can remove the cloak and the hood. You can remove everything, actually. I'm probably not going to do that because I don't want to take the time. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I will take everything off so you can see what he looks like. Sans clothing. Now, most of the time, Mezco's stuff is, like, they tell you not to take it off. Actually, yeah, you can't take off the rest. You can take off the cloak. These are attached by magnets. And the reason that works is because Doom is metal. So, yeah, there you go. You can take the cloak off and put that aside for now. Now, his mask, his head is... Well, this part's metal, but the face mask is plastic rather than metal, and it comes right off. And you can see his head underneath. And this is his non-scarred face. He does come with a scarred head. There have been times in Doom's existence in Marvel Comics where he has fixed his scarred face. Most famously, when the Beyonders showed up and they did the first Secret Wars. But he has done it at other times as well. So he comes out of the package with the unscarred face. And the masks just slip right on quite easily. Just pop it right into place. And it's cool because you can see his eyes. See that? His eyes glowering at you from the inside. Can't really see that one that well. There we go. Let's just see his eyes. Put his hood back up. Now, his arms, his legs, and His body is all metal. It's die-cast metal. This is not a plastic figure. This is die-cast. So that's really cool. And that's why he's more expensive than other figures, is because they made him out of metal. With the exception of his face shield, his face mask, every part of him is metal. Yeah, the hands are plastic, so the joint areas are plastic. Like that part and the rivets there are plastic. This is plastic here, but this is metal. This is metal. This here is metal. These parts on the back, they pop off, and I'll show you why later. These are plastic, but it's metal underneath, and that's why the cloak attaches with magnets, because he's made of metal. So that's really cool. You've got his belt there. Soft goods tunic. He kind of feels naked without his cape. I'll put it back on him. This is Dr. Doom, not Thulsa Doom. Not Conan's enemy. So yeah, very cool figure. And now I'm going to briefly take it off screen so I can take all the accessories out of the package, and then come back and go over all the different accessories he comes with. So stay tuned, and we'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back, and we have most of the accessories out and ready to go. But before we get into anything else, I just want to really quickly go over the stand. I'm not going to take it out of here, though, because I'm not going to display it yet. And it also comes with this 112 collective baggie that you can put all the accessories in. That's for people who want to throw away the packaging, which I don't do. So you got a nice big circular stand with his name on it, and you got the clamp and the arm there to help display him in whatever position you want to. And then you have the baggie for the accessories. Alright, and before we go over the actual accessories, let's take a look at articulation, because he does have articulation, believe it or not, even though he's made of metal. So, let's move his hood out of the way. So he can look down about that far. And he can look up about that far. He can do the Exorcist. And he's got some tilt. And as usual for Mezco figures, in my experience with Destro and Roadblock and now him, the joints are all like butter. They move and flow so smoothly. And popping his hands and heads off is so easy. Requires hardly any effort, but they will stay on very well. So his arm goes all the way around. Unlike some other Mezco figures, he doesn't have any cloth goods restricting his articulation, which is good. But not all of them are going to be like this, obviously. He can hinge his arms up about that high, a little bit more than 90 degrees. He does have a bicep cut. He's got he's got double jointed, because there's a joint in there and there's a joint in there, but you can't get a whole lot of it out of it because of the bicep and the armor. So that's about as much as you can get, about 90 degrees. And there's no hinge, there's no swivel there, so limited movement. He does not have a movement at his forearm. And of course he's got the standard Mezco peg for the hand, which means you can go up, down, or you can go side, side. So Mezco lets you do anything with their joints. You pop that off there. You can see it's on a peg there, but the peg is also on a ball that can swivel and hinge around in all sorts of directions. So I like this joint, and I wish Hasbro would adopt it to the classified series. I think it would be so much better. He does have an ab crunch underneath there. So let me get his cape out of the way so you can see better. He does have an ab crunch. You can get about that far forward and about that far back. You can twist a little bit. And he's got some ab crunch tilt in there as well. A little bit. You can spread out his legs about that far. Not quite Van Damme, but damn good for someone in a metal suit. You can kick out about that high, but if you twist the thigh, you can get him out a little bit more. You kick back, hardly any at all. And he doesn't have a thigh cut, but he can twist it up near the hinge. The ball socket at the crotch, you can kind of twist it there at the top of his armored leg. And he has the same type of joint there type of deal as the elbows to get him more movement. But you still can only get to about 90. And his foot, because of the armor, you're not going to get too much out of it. You can go back about that far, forward about that far. It does have some rocker action. And he's got peg holes on the bottom for the stand that I showed you. Now, first with accessories, we'll look at the belt. He's got this nice painted belt, brown, looks like leather. It's got a big gold buckle on there. Got a pouch on the side here with 2 gold buttons. It can peg off there like that. You can see it pegs into the side there like that. And you can add things to this belt if you want. But first, we'll take a look at the other belt. He does come with a second belt, which is essentially the same on the side. It's got the 2 pouches with the gold buttons. Got the big gold belt in there. The only difference is this second belt comes with another strap that comes down here. And that pegs out the same way. Goes around his waist. And peg holes into yes. Sometimes I wish they made this work with magnets as well. That would make it so much easier. Especially with the cloth goods getting in the way. I'm trying not to peg the... There we go. And that belt hangs just a little bit lower. And you can add accessories to it. He comes with this holster. It's got the gold seal there and some gold buttons on the side. And it's got kind of like a clip action there. So you can clip it on the end of this belt. Have it hang in there. And he also comes with this extra pouch. This one's got a silver buckle there. Nicely detailed. And it also has the whatchamacallit, the little clip that you can hang onto the belt like that. And you can do this with either belt. It doesn't have to be this one. So then that peg's open and closed because you've got a gun, which is probably of his own design, but very Luger-esque, if you ask me. It looked kind of like a German Luger, but a futuristic version of it, or a more technologically advanced version anyway. And you can slide that in his holster. Snap it shut. Now Doom means business. Let's put the other belt back on. That's got less stuff on it. Keep it out of the way. There we go. Once you get it on, you can straighten everything else out. Make it look nicer. Nice and neat. I think I'm going to leave the cloak off for now because it's easier to go over everything else without the cloak in the way. So that takes care of the gun holster, the extra belt, the extra pouch. I'm not done with the gun yet, though. I can get it out of the holster. Alright, so the gun also comes with a blast effect piece, so you can have him fire it. And he comes with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He comes with 8 pairs of hands plus 1 extra. And 2 of them are attached to blast effects, but I still count them because they're separate hands that plug in. So he's got his trigger finger hand for the gun. And it's perfectly set up so that he can put the finger right through the trigger. And then it pegs on nice and easy. And there you have Doom with his gun. Now, he doesn't use guns much in the comics, but he does on occasion. And usually when he does use a gun, it's got a specialized effect that he can't produce with his armor itself. So much stuff, I swear. It's crazy how much stuff this guy comes with. Okay, well, I got his hand off. He has this magic effect. Doom is also a sorcerer, as well as being a technological genius and a scientist. He is powerful enough as a sorcerer to be considered considered for Sorcerer Supreme, this title of Doctor Strange. Now, I don't know if he's actually ever been Sorcerer Supreme in the Marvel Universe, but he probably has. I just haven't read that issue, but I know he is powerful enough to be considered as such. So you just stick that on his stump, basically, and that gives you the magic effect. And to go along with that, he has his spell book. And this is really cool. It's got a lot of good, nice detail on the front. A lot of gold filigree and whatnot. A hinge there. More detail. Golden clasp. It even comes with a bookmark. And if you open it, every page in here is written, front and back is written on. So that's really cool. You can spread it out for him to cast spells out of it. Although it's really tight, so you might have to loosen it up through use over time. I got it upside down. Not like we can read it anyway. That's all gibberish to us. And he also comes with this clamp that goes onto his arm. You can stick the book in there like this. And then you can attach the other part to his wrist. Now it looks like he's looking through his spell book while he casts a spell at you. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to be moving along quickly here because I want to make sure I got time for everything. So I think I'll go over his heads next before I go over his next bunch of accessories. So he has 2 heads, and they pop off really easily. I showed you the first one, which is not that damaging looking, but here's his more scarred looking face. As you can see, the damage he sustained from the explosion in the lab. You can't see the scars from the mask, the heated metal of the mask on this face because they're covered by the part on the side, but yeah. So he's got, it's not as bad. You know, Doom is very vain though, so he thinks he's like hideously ugly. But there are I mean, he doesn't look all that terrible. There are far worse. Like Freddy Krueger looks far worse as far as someone who got caught in a fire or whatever. So this is his second head. And then he has 3 masks. So you saw the one that originally had on him when I took him out of the box. And then he has this one, which is similar, but the eye holes look like a little bigger. And the mouth is slightly different as well. So I think what is the deal with this is this one is an older version of the mask, or this one's the older version of the mask, I'm sorry. And this one's more modern Doom. So like this is like his first appearance in the 60s, and this is more modern day. And that just snaps on over. And of course, again, you can see his eyes glowering from underneath the mask, which is cool. And then he also comes with this mask, which is more streamlined, less jagged than the other ones. The other ones look more robotic. This one looks more like a mask. And I don't know where this one is from. I don't recall ever seeing Doom like this. But this might be from the movie, maybe? Does his mask look like that in the movie? I can't remember. It's been so long since I've seen the Fantastic Four movie. The first one or the second one. I know that the remake, the one that had Michael B. Jordan as Human Torch, I know that one. The Dr. Doom in that one looked nothing like this, which is another reason that movie was so terrible. Their Dr. Doom was some stupid computer hacker or something like that instead of a powerful monarch. But they didn't get it right in the first 2 Fantastic Four movies either, so not surprised that they messed up on the reboot. I tell you, the MCU has really been terrible lately, and how they nail Dr. Doom is going to determine whether or not the franchise just collapses and dies for good. That and the X-Men. If they mess up with those 2 franchises, they're done. They might as well fire Kevin Feige, hire someone else, and start from scratch. Let's put his other head back on. And put the original mask on. As well as the cape, the hood also has bendy wire in it, so you can get into display pieces. I like pushing it down on the side there, because then it looks like an actual hood lying like flush on the shoulders there. All right, he also has some other hands. He has this kind of gripping hand, like the kind of hand a villain, the kind of hand pose a villain pulls when he's talking about ruling the world. And he also has a couple of these splayed out hands, just completely splayed out. You can do what you will with those. And then he has a couple of magic casting hands, similar to the way you see Doctor Strange holding his fingers when he's casting spells. So Doctor Doom has that same ability. So he has those same kind of hands. And he has one hand that's kind of open with his, he got like repulsor blast just like Iron Man. But he's got one hand that's got it open like this, but there's no peg in it for a blast effect. It's just open like pre-blast effect, pre-shot basically. And then he has post-shot hands. And I've already pegged the blast effects in. But I'll take one out real quick. And like I said before, the hands are made of plastic. They're not metal like the rest of them. So there, he's got the same hand, except now you can plug the blast effect in. And you can fire a blast at you. Just like Tony Stark does when he's in his Iron Man suit. Doom can do the same. And he's got one for each hand. Firing blast effects. So many accessories. He also has this straight hand. And what that is good for is this blast effect. It's just blue energy beam. And you just plug that into the tips of his fingers. And he just can fire an energy beam out like that out at you. And he has this pointing finger, which has two purposes. You can have him pointing at his enemies or underlings, telling him what to do, or he can fire a blast of energy out of his fingertip and plug that in on the tip there. I apologize if I'm going through these really fast. I just want to make sure I have enough time to get through everything without having to cut the video again. What I should have done is I should have gone over the articulation before I took it off the first time, because I still had time left when that happened. And then I could have come back and done all the accessories on the second part, but I didn't do that, so. Alright, next set of hands. Now these are attached to the blast effects, so you can't have them separate, but he has these hands, which gives you even more attack options with Doctor Doom. You can blast his enemies with, I guess, Force Lightning. He thinks he's Emperor Palpatine. Or I should say Emperor Palpatine thinks he's Doctor Doom, since Doom predates Palpatine by about 16 years or so. So he can blast his enemies. And like I said, these hands are attached to the effect. You can see they go right through the fingertips there. Alright, almost done with the blast effects. He's got two more I want to show, and then we'll move on to the final couple of accessories. He also has these gripping hands, and you'll see what he has to grip in a moment. But first, he's got these accessories. This is more like Force Lightning. This is all blue and stuff. There's no hand attachments to there, but there is a hole in the end there. And it's rubbery. It's kind of pliable, so you can shove his fist in there. You can probably fit other... he's got two of them, by the way. You can also fit other hands. Probably fit other hands in there, but with varying degrees of success, I imagine. I think the ones with the splayed out fingertips might be a little bit more difficult to push into that than the fists, but he's got these as well. So Doom has a lot of powers, a lot of abilities, a lot of ways to attack you. Alright, now we're going to take a look at the accessories that go with his back. As you saw earlier, I pointed out the slots on his back here can come off. And these are made of plastic, but they peg into metal. That one's being a pain. Come off. There you go. Oh, and by the way, he has blast effects that you can plug into his feet. I forgot about that. Well, I almost forgot about it. And that allows him to fly, just like Iron Man does. Yes, Dr. Doom can fly. Oops. And, as you can see on his back there, he's got peg holes. And that goes to these. And these can peg into his back right there. And right there. And that's another option for him to fly if he wants to. And the same blast effects that you use to put in his hand, you can also plug into these. And then you can have the other ones plugged into his feet like before. So yeah, it has these covers on the top, which are just exactly the same as the ones that came off of his back. So it looks like they opened and these came out of his armor, which is kind of cool. And it's cool when they don't just fall off like that. Well, they didn't just fall off. I hit them, but still. So there's Doom in all his blasting off into outer space glory. And yeah, he can survive in space like this. He has before. So Doom flying around the screen. Alright. There is one final effect to show you. And that is his power siphon. This is a large accessory, as you can see. It's got the handles here, which can move. They can move up and down, side to side, so they can't turn though. So just be aware of that. It can move like that. And he also has this display screen, which slots into here. There we go. Snaps right into place. And this is electronic. It lights up. The battery case is here. You just take this piece off, and then you the on-off switch, and then the compartment where the batteries go. I've already got those put in for you, but they're not in when you get the actual figure. They come in a separate plastic container that holds them. And if you definitely don't want to store this with the batteries in it, because they'll corrode over time if you leave it and ruin it. So make sure you take the batteries out when you're not using it. So you just flip the switch to on, put the cover back over it, and then it lights up. Let me get the lights here real quick so you can see it. So, nice light up effects there. Looks pretty cool. Then I'll quickly take it off screen to hook it up to Doom and bring it back on screen to show you what it looks like with Doom holding on to it. Now, like I said, this is one of the more expensive Mezco figures because of all this stuff he comes with. But I have to say, I'm quite pleased with it. I knew when the first moment I saw the figure advertised that this was my definitive Doctor Doom. This was the one that I wanted. I missed out on the Marvel Legends Doctor Doom that looks, you know, the same as this with the classic uniform and whatnot. I didn't want to get the all-white one. Oh, by the way, if you know that all-white Doctor Doom, the one I'm talking about, that's from the alternate universe where Doom's in control of everything. He even comes with a spinal cord and a skull, which is from Thanos, because during that whole saga, Thanos approached him and threatened him and try to make Doom think that he was just as powerful with the Infinity Gauntlet. But Doom was like, "Do you still have the Infinity Gauntlet?" And Thanos is like, "No, but I should be enough on my own." And then Doom immediately punches into his torso and rips out his spinal cord like a freaking predator and says that appears untrue as Thanos' body collapses to the ground. So yeah, that's where the all-white Doctor Doom comes from. God Doctor Doom, or God Emperor Doctor Doom. So, see, they plug into his back the same place as the jetpack things do. Well, this is surprisingly top heavy, despite the fact that this dude is made of metal. There we go. So there's Doom with his power siphon, blasting away, siphoning all your energy. And that's the final accessory in the pack. It's a really cool figure. I'm really impressed that he's made of metal. I really didn't think that would happen. I'm actually a little upset they didn't make the Mezco Destro's head out of metal instead of plastic. Oh well. So turn them off now. So that's the Doctor Doom figure. Really worth it, in my opinion. Definitely get it if you've got the money for it. You won't regret it. You won't need another Doctor Doom after this one. Yeah, I was going to put his fist hand back on him, but I just dropped it on the floor. Now I'm going to have to look for it after the video, before the carpet monster claims it forever. Get his cloak back on here. I could just stick this on his stub. But yeah, the only drawback I can think of to this figure is the wire in his cape isn't that strong. So you can't, it won't hold his cloak in certain poses. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, this is a fantastic figure. Definitely 10 out of 10, in my opinion. This is the definitive Doctor Doom. Definitely get one if you can. You won't regret it. So comment down below what you think of this Doom. What you think of Mezco in general. Like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.